These finance and money books completely changed my life. I'm not exaggerating when I say these finance books are directly responsible for helping me build wealth beyond my wildest dreams. But here's what's interesting: despite so many lists of top finance books, even by the likes of Mark Tilbury, people still don't actually read them. And if you don't read them, it's going to cost you money. My name's David Paul. I'm a millionaire investor and entrepreneur. And today I'm going to share with you the finance books and the money books that have taken me from like an average investor to financially independent. Look, there are thousands of finance books out there. Most of them say the same things in slightly different ways. Save more, invest wisely, compound interest, blah, 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 blah. You've heard it all before, right? They all say the same. But the books I'm going to show you today, they approach money from a completely different angle. They're not just about finance, they're about psychology, decision making, and building systems that actually work in the real world. I've read each of these at different stages of my journey, from just starting out to right now. Each one has solved specific problems I was facing at the time or provided inspiration to do more. Most importantly, I reread them frequently, reminding me that these often basic rules of money never really change. So let's break down these wealth building blueprints one by one. My best money and finance book number one is, of course, Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. And it's the book that started it all for me. If you've watched my finance channel or any of my content, you've probably heard of Rich Dad Poor Dad before, but there's a reason it's mentioned so often across so many channels. Kiyosaki's core idea about assets versus liabilities completely rewired my brain. The simple concept that rich people buy assets and put money in their pocket while everyone else buys liability that takes money out, that hit me like a truck. After reading it, I audited almost everything I owned, and I realized that most of the stuff I thought was investments were actually draining my resources and obviously draining my wealth too. I sold my fancy car, I downsized my housing costs and redirected that money into business ventures where I could actually build assets and make more money. This book isn't about getting rich quick, and that's what I love about it. It's about understanding the fundamental difference in how wealthy people view money compared to everybody else. The chapter on the rat race is worth the price alone. It explains why so many people work hard their whole lives yet never build real wealth. Don't become one of them. If you're just starting on your financial journey, this is your foundation. Everything else builds on the principles in this book. One lesson that struck me was when Kiyosaki wrote that most people work for money. The rich have money work for them. It's a real difference. That single sentence changed my approach to every financial decision I've made. Another wealth building book that you must read to change your psychology around money is actually The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. This might be the most important finance book of the last decade, and it's not even technically about finance really. What Housel does is brilliantly explain how our weird human brains mess up our money decisions without us even realizing. The chapter on wealth is what you don't see transformed how I think about success. We only see the visible trappings of wealth, the cars, the houses, the vacations. But true wealth is invisible. It's the investments, it's the businesses, it's the assets. They're never on display. After reading this book, I stopped comparing my financial journey to others because I realized I was only seeing a fraction of the real picture of everybody else. The biggest takeaway from this book is that financial decisions are not maths problems. They're deeply personal choices influenced by your own unique psychology, history, and goals. I started making investment choices based on what would help me sleep at night, not just what looked best on a spreadsheet. And paradoxically, that more sustainable approach to investing led me to better returns over time. If you've ever made a financial decision you've later regretted, this book is going to explain exactly why that happened and how to avoid it next time. So it's super valuable. There's one quote from this book that I literally have framed on my wall. The quote is, "The highest form of wealth is the ability to wake up every morning and say, I can do whatever I want today." Now that's what financial freedom really looks like. Another wealth building book that you must read is Atomic Habits by James Clear. Now before you shout, wait, that's not a finance book, hold on a sec. You are right, it is not strictly a finance book. It's much more valuable than that. Here's the truth most finance experts won't tell you. Your financial success has less to do with complex investment strategies and more to do with your daily habits around money. Clear explains exactly how tiny changes consistently applied create massive results over time. And isn't that exactly what building wealth is all about? After reading this book, I created simple systems for my finances. I automated my investments. I built a morning routine where I review my business numbers. I created specific habits around spending decisions. These tiny changes have probably added more to my net worth than any single investment I've ever made. The section on designing your environment completely changed how I handle temptation around spending. Instead of relying on willpower, I restructured my environment to make saving and investing the path of least resistance. And it's been a game changer for me. So if you're struggling to stick with your financial plan, this book solves that problem at the root cause. Another wealth book you must read that you won't find on many other lists is The Almanac of Naval Ravikant by Eric Jorgensen. This might be the least known book on my list, but is possibly the most profound. Naval is a tech entrepreneur and an investor who's worth hundreds of millions. But what makes his advice unique is that he focuses on wealth creation as a skill that can be learned. The section on specific knowledge transformed my approach to business. Instead of chasing random opportunities, I doubled down on the unique intersection of skills that only I could offer. And that has been a game changer as well. This book isn't about tactics or tips. It's about the fundamental principles that create wealth in the modern world. After reading it, I restructured my businesses to leverage my time and my knowledge rather than just trading hours for dollars all the time. The ideas on wealth creation versus money allowed me to focus on building assets with long-term value instead of just increasing my income. So if you feel stuck in the hamster wheel of working harder to make more, this book shows you a completely different approach. Naval says, learn to sell, learn to build. If you can do both, then you're going to be unstoppable. I wrote that down the day I read it, and it became my North Star for my business strategy. Another investor book to build wealth is The Intelligent Investor by Benjamin Graham. We can't talk about building wealth without addressing investing, and this is the Bible. Warren Buffett calls it the best book on investing ever written, and he knows a thing or two about making money in the markets, right? What makes Graham's approach so powerful is that it's not just about getting rich quick or timing the market. It's about a disciplined, rational approach to selecting investments that work over time. The concept of margin of safety completely changed how I evaluate stocks. I stopped chasing hot tips and started looking for solid companies, trading below their intrinsic value. By implementing the strategies in the book, my portfolio became far less volatile while still delivering excellent returns. I sleep better at night and my wealth grows more consistently. This isn't a book you're going to read only once. It's a reference that you're going to return to throughout your investing journey time after time. And each time you read it, you'll find new insights depending on where you are financially in your life. When I first started investing, I was consistently checking prices, worrying about daily fluctuations. Graham's philosophy helped me adopt a long-term mindset that's been crucial to building real wealth in the markets. Now that's my list, but before I wrap up, I want to quickly mention 3 other books that almost made my top 5, only almost. First, The Simple Path to Wealth by J.L. Collins. This is the clearest explanation of index fund investing that you'll ever read. If you feel intimidated by the stock market, start with this book. The next on my bonus list is Principles by Ray Dalio. While not strictly a finance book, Dalio's approach to decision making has helped me navigate complex business and investment choices, so it's absolutely worth a read. Another great investing book is The Millionaire Next Door by Thomas Stanley. Now, this research-based book looks at how actual millionaires live and behave, and it shattered many myths I had about wealth. Here's what most people get wrong about finance books. They read them for information, but the information alone just isn't enough to change your financial situation. The books I've shared today totally transformed my finances because I actually implemented their ideas. I built systems around them. I changed my behavior based on what I'd learned in these books. If you only take one thing from this video, then let it be this. Reading these books won't make you rich. Applying what they teach consistently over time will. Start with just one book from the list. Choose the one that addresses your biggest financial challenge right now. Read it, but more importantly, implement at least one idea from it this week. Take action. I'd love to know which of these books resonates with you the most. Which have you read? Which have you not read? Or if there's a finance book that's changed your life that I didn't mention, drop it in the comments below, as I love to read new reads all the time. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up so more people can discover these wealth building resources. And obviously, if you want to hear more from me, subscribe for more practical, no nonsense financial content that actually helps you move forward. My name is David Paul, and remember, financial freedom isn't about getting lucky or knowing secrets. It's about making slightly better decisions every day consistently over time. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Bye for now.